Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for participating in this event held by the Aspire Artemis Foundation, their partners and many collaborators helping behind the scenes such as Microsoft, Diaz, and Star City to name a few. Today, there are some amazing one-on-one workshop sessions and masterclasses by experts, CEOs, leaders in global philanthropy, investors, entertainment industry insiders, leading scientists in AI and deep tech, and even Microsoft US OCP's Chief Technology Officer. Today is really focused on moving from policy to action. We are all connecting on a digital platform, and technology has really served as an equalizer during a time of national emergency. Technology may not be readily available in many countries in terms of infrastructure and devices, but government and policymakers need to create an enabling environment to allow young people to thrive, learn skills, and enter the new and emerging workforce. I have no doubt you would get some great content to round out your International Women's Day experience. Thanks again for joining us to celebrate the power of women to create impact and change through collective action and use of technology. Now, with much honor, I would like to invite Ambassador Rosalyn Hazelle, Senior Advisor and Director of Regional Coordination at the Aspire Artemis Foundation, to give opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Negilla. Excellencies, distinguished guests, speakers, and friends, we at Aspire Artemis Foundation are thrilled for your participation. I am extremely enthused by the opportunity that I had yesterday to learn about you through your shared stories, and I look forward to the ones that I would hear today. Storytelling has always afforded us the relational space for learning and appreciating each other's walk through life. I can still recall with much fondness the many stories of my grandmother. In this age of technology, we are given several platforms to share our different flavors, obvious and subtle merits, and the richness of our histories and testimonies that are as relevant today as those of my grandmother. We can often lose sight of the opportunity that traditional storytelling, whether written or spoken, has given us throughout history. Today, with the technological advances, we have opportunities to share our real stories in a very variety of ways. This is where now we have tradition and technology meeting. Opportunities to disperse stories further and wider afield, beyond physical boundaries and systemic barriers. New ways to tell stories, creating a value not only in the historical context, but in the innovative context of technology. Now, more than ever, we can address how to make storytelling even more responsive and, most importantly, accessible and inclusive. The various platforms that have, of course, been invaluable with the provision to keep some of us connected across the globe during this COVID-19 period. We must, however, not lose sight that such opportunities and benefits are not part of the reality for so many more worldwide. With the enjoyment of new technology and innovation, we have to be aware of the challenges that are still needing to be overcome. How do we enable the tools of inclusivity. We must be careful not to alienate some of the process of storytelling by limiting inclusion to the available technological resources that allow them to do so. Not just computers, but also Wi-Fi and data access. Many families are struggling with managing even the basic and the simplest. Some cannot even afford a computer and must use their cellular phones, sometimes sharing the use beyond several family members, among several family members, in order to access platforms such as Teams, Zoom, and Hopin. Our success and sustainability requires inclusiveness. We must now challenge the tech companies and governments to find ways to develop programs and partnerships in order to make the various platforms, equipment, and services accessible, available, and again, most importantly, affordable. I would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks to our partners, including Microsoft, who has helped substantially both behind and in front of the scenes. Let me please express on behalf of our foundation our deep and profound appreciation for your partnership. There also the need that we see for capacity building, be it upskilling or retooling, no matter the age. And let me say here, at my age, I'm now upskilling. Understanding technology must be an opportunity for lifelong learning, which is responsive and inclusive, regardless of age, even for those of us who have operated successfully in non-technological spaces. We are here to make commitment to that end. Aspire Artemis Foundation stands ready to answer that call. We have the team, the experience, and the partners to allow for equal opportunity vision. As we continue to celebrate the occasion of International Women's Day, let's share and listen to the diverse voices. Let us choose to challenge the norm and make commitments towards empowering, educating, and equipping the next generation of technology innovators. We all send messages of thank you, and most importantly, of reflecting on how we could make a difference and take action to help disadvantaged and marginalized communities, especially communities of color. We are launching a global call to action to help train, upskill, fund, and empower the next generation of leaders from the African diaspora globally. We are here. What are you willing to commit to today? In closing, allow me to reiterate that there are those with stories to tell, but they continue to remain silent due to the lack of available mechanisms to allow for their participation and for their voices to be heard. So, as we move forward, let us all pledge to do what we can to work together collectively. Collective intelligence, collective governance, and inclusion that leaves no one behind. Lest we forget that inclusivity is the rudder for sustainability. I thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Hazelle, for your Wonderful remark. Now we move on to a panel session on the power and impact of storytelling. Storytelling has been a tradition throughout all of human history. Before the mediums we have today, storytelling was an oral tradition passed down from generation to generation. The art of storytelling has since taken many different forms: dance, music, written word, film, and many more. Many of these kinds of storytelling transcend the boundaries of age, of culture, gender, identity, sexuality, religion, and language. As humankind has developed, each new advance brings with it a new way of telling stories. Regardless of the medium, however, connections these stories foster have stayed true. There is an innate need in the human condition for connection, to know that we are not alone. Storytelling is an age-old tool to prove to one another that regardless of the specifics of our experiences, nobody is going it alone. In this panel, storytellers from a wide range of industry talk about how they make an impact through the power of storytelling. The moderator for this session, Miss Pierre Vanderwill. Ms. Vanderwill is a singer, songwriter, founder of Stronger with Music.
Hello, everybody, and just wanted to say thank you so much to Ambassador Hazelle for your powerful introduction about storytelling, focusing on this accessibility and diversity and also inclusivity. So thank you so much, Ambassador. Hello, everybody, and good evening, Your Excellencies, esteemed guests and panelists, and welcome to the panel on the power and impact of storytelling. As Negilla said, I am Pierre Vanderwill, and I will be the moderator for this discussion. I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, humanitarian activist, and also founder of Stronger with Music. So essentially, I am a storyteller. I am incredibly excited to lead today's discussion on the power of storytelling with these incredible panelists. We have Ms. Maggie Mutesi, Senior Business Correspondent at BBC and also the founder of Mansa Magazine. We also have Ms. Uju Uzo Onjinaka, CEO of Traders of Africa. And we also have Ms. Kaori Fuji, international flutist and founder and CEO of Music Beyond. So unfortunately, Mr. Simon Okello, one of our panelists, is unwell, so he will not be participating in today's discussion. So welcome panelists, welcome everybody, and I would love to jump right into our discussion due to our limited time frame. So Maggie, Uju, Kaori, I'd love to start off with the definition of storytelling. What is a story, and also how do each of you tell stories within your own field of work? Why don't we start with Maggie? Let's start with you.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be a part of this amazing conversation. And yeah, I mean, oftentimes when people hear about storytelling, they immediately think of, you know, mainstream media, the BBC, CNN, and all of that. And I want to describe it, especially from where I come from in Africa. For us, storytelling is passing on information, is informing the masses, is speaking for the vulnerable, speaking for those people who do not really have the voice. But again, in Africa especially, a lot of stories were told through music, through dramas, through everything. And I think this is something over the past couple of years, especially now that we've seen the continent saying, you know, we've got to tell our story through the creative industries and redefine what actually storytelling is, because if we are focusing on mainstream media, then we're leaving out a lot of people who probably don't have access to the internet, to electricity, and all of that. In my own way, it's ultimately speaking for the voiceless, and also seeing that, whatever you're voicing out is creating impact and changing a lot of things in society. Briefly, that's how I would describe it.
Absolutely. I think definitely informing the masses, specifically when it comes to journalism as a medium of storytelling, is something that is very important in storytelling, specifically in which story we want to share and which story we would like to tell. Uju, how about you?
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. It's such a privilege. For me, what is a story? A story is an account of an event, okay? And I'm an entrepreneur. I run Traders of Africa, which is a Pan-African online marketplace for products grown, produced, and manufactured in Africa only. And we all know the challenges of running a business in Africa by a woman, a married woman with children. So it is very important that I give an account of how things are going in TOFA, how TOFA started, where we are, the challenges we've had, the successes we've recorded. It is very important that I'm able to relate those accounts truthfully. And what happens is that the more you tell these stories, the more people are inspired to either really take a look at what you're doing and look at how they can also improve their own lives. It's listening to my story, okay, gives women an opportunity to see that it is possible, it is doable. All right. So it's very important that I'm able to put my story together in such a way that people are motivated, because there's a way you tell your story and it looks as if it's too easy or it's too difficult. So it's very important that you tell the story in such a way that people see the stories and they are spurred to action. So for me, that is the way storytelling has helped what I'm doing to impact on the lives of other women, especially in our continent, Africa.
Absolutely. I mean, the word account, that is such an incredible word to describe telling a story, is having an account and being able to see what challenges and what successes you actually come from that account and from that story that you're sharing. And Carrie, how about yourself?
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having me here. And hey, these two ladies already gave the best answer, so I really don't have that much
Very true.
to add. But yeah, right. But I would say I really agree that it's all about, like, story is what do you want the listeners to get out of it. It's like, of course it is important to tell the fact or the numbers or whatever. All of that is definitely important. So that's why, like, mainstream media is important for that, I think. However, at the same time, creative information is also really important, especially, I mean, I feel bad for speaking for African people, because I obviously am not an African, but I do work in the Congo. So, and I work with the musicians in Congo, and, what the story that they tell without using the words can be really powerful. So I think story is not only about the fact and numbers and statistics, but it's all about the unspoken story, the stories that is not in the words. I think that's equally, sometimes more powerful than anything else to me.
So all of you work within different mediums of storytelling, and something that I'd really love to dive into is to really hear about the stories that each one of you, incredible panelists we have today, what story you are sharing and what impact you believe your story is having on others. So let's go backwards in return. So let's start with Carrie first.
Oh dear. So as I said, I work in the Democratic Republic of the Congo through my organization called Music Beyond, and I work with both men and women, but I especially work with women that are playing the violins and cellos and flute and so on. And then we have the the Congo's first all-female chamber ensemble. So through that, they are becoming a role model in a way that one of the ladies said, what was the most amazing thing about this ensemble was that this ensemble make us realize that we women can make something extraordinary as well. And that was such a powerful statement coming from them, that they realized it. It's so easy for somebody like me flying from somewhere to say like, you know, you guys are this and that, but it's them who can say that, and then they can say that to their own community, kids and, you know, whoever else, is much more powerful. So we are using the power of music to tell a story to the community, to men and women in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Something that I really love about that is what you just said, is the word response. And as a musician myself, what just immediately came to my mind was the idea of call and response, which is a musical technique anyway, but the idea of being able to put out a message and see if you get a message in return is something that's so empowering, and is something that can bring more people together. And as we move forward in building sort of a more sustainable future, is being able to have
storytelling has to be both ways, you know. It has to be a two-way street. It cannot be just like, I tell you this and I don't care what do you think about it, you know. So
we need those responses. I love that.
Exactly.
All right, Uju, how about you?
Okay, so for me, like I said earlier, I run a Pan-African online marketplace for products grown, produced, and manufactured in Africa only. TOFA, we've been called the Alibaba for Africa. It's funny because I say that TOFA started all because of granules, right? Working in a family business and then requiring Forex and trying to get people to partner with me, and realizing that I couldn't provide the services they needed because I didn't know where to find it, even when those products were all over my country, right? So taking that decision to do that, having challenges as I even go along, and then pivoting, ability to go on and continue putting my eye on the ball. Telling the story of TOFA, most times in any platform where these stories are told, I always have people, especially women, coming back to me to say, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because it is a confirmation to them that it can be done and that impossible is nothing. If you understand how doing business in Africa, how difficult it is, you realize that it's a double whammy for even a woman, for instance, all right? Then seeing a woman who tells you, this is how I started, this is how I'm going, I'm having challenges, I'm surmounting them, more are coming, and I'm being resilient, gingers the next person to continue. So it's very important that we continue to tell this story, because nobody is going to tell our stories. We have to tell our stories ourselves, and it's relatable, okay? So the more story we tell, the more we keep telling, the more someone gingers you, the more you're going to say that I heard this story and it puts me to tell my own story. Someone else is hearing you. You see, it's like a geometric progression, right? And it multiplies that way. So the story of TOFA is quite inspirational, and it's touched a lot of people. I've got a lot of testimonies around that. People hearing me, hearing the stories, and wanting to do something for themselves, because impossible is nothing.
I definitely think, I mean, when you're getting, again, we're sort of back to the responses, you're getting this thank you. You're getting this thank you from the people who are suddenly hearing your story and then wanting to maybe feel inspired to tell their own. And Maggie, what about within your work of journalism?
First of all, I think that we've got to really understand the power of a story, and the fact that I want to bring this out because I see it a lot of times at conferences where there's a media panel that comes either on another day or or in the middle, and the fact that we have business people that are discussing innovations or business without storytellers is just a gap itself, because who's going to tell that story? Creatives should not come last. I think creatives are the most important people in any room, because for whatsoever we know, for whatsoever we believe or even understand, it's because we've heard, we've consumed, we've listened, we've read. And the mere fact that there's still that gap of understanding the value creatives bring to the table, we still have a long way. Now, coming back to your question, I think for me, we've seen a lot of impact in Africa, and it's good that we have Uji on the panel, because I've done a lot of work with women across the continent. I've had the privilege to work in different countries and live in different countries in Africa. And the opportunities are immense, Uji, and many times when you meet traders, because I do a lot of business reporting, they will tell you the same things you say, like there are so many constraints, we don't even know what to do, we don't even know where to go, until you give them a platform to tell their story, and then they realize that, there's actually an opportunity. The borders are even open. There's even, a trade agreement that I can take advantage of. So we have seen that kind of impact through storytelling, through giving a platform, especially to women, to the business community. And through that, there's been a lot of change in terms of even understanding our continent, which is really huge. There are stories I've done in countries like Sao Tome and Principe, where people have asked me, is that an African country? Definitely, yeah. But nobody had gone there to report about it. So this is where the power of storytelling comes in, and then you realize that over time it's opening up the minds, it's helping people even understand their own communities much more, even inform them about many of the things we haven't really been told about. Because like I said in the beginning, for many years storytelling in Africa was consumed through music, drama. So exploring a continent of over 50 countries, I mean, this is something, as well as journalists, we haven't even been able to go half of it. So that gap is what we try to bridge through the stories that we tell, that we bring the continent together, we bring the traders together. We give them a platform to talk about their products, to talk about their challenges. And again, it comes back to accountability as well, because if somebody's going through something really hard or they cannot do any trade, then there has to be some answers as to why it is happening that way. So again, for us, our work is to give the story, and there has to be some bit of accountability. We want to see an impact, and ultimately then you feel like, now this is journalism. It's journalism that is working for the people.
I love what you were saying, Maggie, about how creatives should not come last. And as you're saying, there is this importance of culture and for the creatives to be at the forefront of educating. It's also, storytelling is educating, it's inspiring, it's bringing and bridging people together. And we need to be making sure that the stories we're telling are unifying people together. And it's going to have to, unfortunately, be our final question. This is a short panel, but something that I would love to receive answers from all of you incredible panelists is, do you believe that storytelling has the ability to enforce or change social policy?
Yes. Sorry, I'm going to have to jump into that.
Please do. Please jump.
Yes. And I think it's been evident, this we've seen globally. on social media. Stories have taken down governments. Stories have changed policies. In the United States alone, I mean, if there were no journalists to report what was happening at the time, maybe there wouldn't have been a change of president just this year. I just want to be careful how I put things. But yes, there's definitely the power. The power lies in the creative industries. In fact, I don't even want to call it storytelling. The power lies in the creative industries. We have seen a movement in Africa when it comes to music, especially from Nigeria, that has taken over not only the continent, but the global space. And it has changed policies across Africa. And I can assure you that I sometimes listen to this music where I barely do not understand words, but I can understand the storyline. And this alone is so inspirational. So yes, storytelling has the power. But again, we need to understand and redefine what storytelling is. I think it's high time, businesses, companies, or even governments focused on creative industries, because this is where the power lies as well, from art, drawings, music, and all of that. And there's absolutely no doubt that even in the near future, we're going to see the creatives, not only media, mainstream media, change a lot, policies, socially, economically, and all of that.
Absolutely. I completely understand that. So I've been told we are at time, but Carrie, Uju, I would love for you to give us maybe 3 words or something that you think and believe that stories can create this social impact. What 3 words would actually help us to move forward?
Give you one word.
Please do.
Word.
Love it.
Yes.
Look at you.
Yes is the word. It's absolutely possible when it's matched with action. If that storytelling is enough to inspire people to take actions, then that's when things can change big time.
Uju, what about yourself?
Yeah, I agree absolutely with what Maggie and Curry has said. The story has to be told, and it has to be motivating enough to spur to action. Very important, and that's when we're having it change the policies that's been made.
I love
it must spur action. Yeah.
I love that what you just said, spur action. And honestly, let's end it with that. Let us spur action and let us use our voices to empower the stories that need to be told and that need to be shared. So thank you so much to our fabulous panelists, our esteemed guests and excellencies for watching today.
All women panel. This is not so usual. So yes, thanks, ladies.
Brilliant. Yes, exactly. Continuation of International Women's Day.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right,
Thanks so much to Piera, to Cowrie, to Maggie, and to Uju for such a wonderful panel and inspirational. I think we're all seeing the power and impact of storytelling by just listening to your personal accounts. So now we will switch to our Master of Ceremony is having a few technical difficulties. So we will just switch to a video, inspirational video that we have prepared for you all today. And this is an amazing performance, a global performance of people across the globe to a song that you all are familiar with, Jerusalem.